What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to show you another vacuum that just joined my vacuum collection, and it is another Bissell. Here I present to you a Bissell Cleanview 2 Bagless Plus upright vacuum. I got this vacuum from a local seller off OfferUp after wanting a more deluxe Bissell after recently acquiring my Bissell PowerForce Bagless Turbo, which was the more base version of this. This is the more higher up model. And I honestly like the design of this a little bit better than the PowerForce. Yes, granted, the PowerForce is a little more compact in design, but I just feel like it's a little bit better of build quality compared to the PowerForce, even though statistically speaking, they're the same machine. So anyway, let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the machine right here. This is one of many models of the Cleanview 2 upright vacuum. I believe this particular model was sold at Walmart as the more higher end version to the PowerForce Bagless and the PowerForce Bagless Turbo, which were the cheaper alternatives to this one. And right up here, you do have your turbo brush attachment, which I honestly really love the turbo brushes on these Bissells. They're honestly the best design in my opinion. Mostly because when you turn it on and you hook it up to the hose, this thing never bogs down when you set it on a carpeted surface. I think it's mostly had to do with these little air vents on the side that prevent that from happening, unlike Hoover, which doesn't have that. So basically when you put it on a carpeted surface, it likes to stall out, but not this. So, ooh, shoot. So kudos to Bissell for making a good design turbo brush. Let's move along down. You have your stair cleaning handle right here. There were some models of the PowerForce that actually have this filled in for whatever reason, so it's not a stair cleaning handle like this has. But one thing this does have in common with the PowerForce models, the Bagless System, which the Cleanview 2 was the first to get this updated bagless technology compared to when the original Cleanview first came out. And to drop your dust cup, you simply just move this little lever to the right, and or the machine's right, I should say. It's really you're moving it to the left, your left, and then the dust cup will just slide right out. A little bit dusty because I was using it just today. But anyway, this Cleanview 2 has an updated bagless system compared to the original Cleanview. See, when the original Cleanview came out, it had just a singular cyclone, just like this, but a very cheaply designed dual-stage filtration. And the reason how I know it's cheap is the first filter actually sat up here in the upper cyclone, or behind it at least. And then there was another filter that sits right down here, which sits by a little tray that you pull out, and which that design was pretty good on paper, but until you get into how thin the filter material was, and consumers being consumers, and not cleaning out the filters when they need to be, and what you'll run into is dust, fine dust, going into the motor and slowly but surely destroying motor bearings, which is what a lot of people complained about with the original Cleanviews, is motor failures because they failed to clean out the filters like they regularly should be. And pretty soon your motor's destroyed. Which Bissell solved this by coming out with the Cleanview 2 and incorporating a totally different filter design. And which here is the two-stage pre-filter right here. The first one is this, this little foam filter that goes over the original HEPA pre-filter, and which is really caked up with dust because this has been given a lot of use over the years. But basically this can trap dust way more effectively than the original Cleanview filter setup does. Especially a lot of the fine dust will get trapped on this pre-filter, and then the rest will go into this HEPA filter, in which this luckily can be washed out and cleaned. Just like the other filters on the Cleanview, but this design is way more effective than the original Cleanview had, because this one doesn't have motor failures as much as the original Cleanviews do. But they still do fail motors because consumers still don't clean filters. Well, at that point, you're on your own. But one thing I will say is that with this filter setup, the performance, honestly, is not as good as the original Cleanview, which is an unfortunate downfall, which later Bissell solved that by creating the Bissell Cleanview Revolution, which had the same filter setup as the original Cleanview, but it added what Bissell called the Revolution stage, which basically there are these two dents on the inside of the dustbin that are supposed to trap more fine dust, which it does a pretty good job doing that, but you still have the thin filter setup. So I honestly like the filter design on these Cleanview 2s compared to other models, and this design was later adopted for the budget Power Force models. So anyway, now that you are up to speed on the history of these Cleanviews and their filtration, let's go ahead and move on down to your 7-position carpet height adjustment. You get much more adjustments for the pile of your carpet, which is kind of good because the Power Force only comes with 5 carpet height adjustments. And you have your wide cleaning path. It's a total of 15 inches all the way across. You do have dual edge cleaning, 12 amps maximum power. And you have your Bissell logo right there, and it takes style 9, filters and belts. And speaking of filters, here is the post motor filter. This is a HEPA media filter. I will point that out. Let me see if I can get it out. This is a brand new filter. I would like to add that I just installed today. So now let's go ahead and tip the machine back to show you the underside. Here is the brush roll. Is your chevron style of brush roll. It funnels all the dirt into that little center suction path down there, so all the suction can be taken away. Just installed a brand new belt in this, and the bottom plate is very simple in the way it comes off. You simply just remove these 3 latches and the bottom plate comes right off. Very simple. There is no screws holding it on or anything. So it's very easy to change the belt on this. And there's your belt right there. So very, very nice, simple design on Bissell's part. It's much easier to change the belt on this compared to the Hoover counterparts. And one thing I would like to mention about the brush roll is the design of it is pretty interesting. It almost is like a Hoover brush roll, but this is specific for Bissell. And also one more thing, the bristles are very stiff. They're arguably even stiffer than the bristles on the brush roll of my Power Force Bagless Turbo, which uses the same brush roll width. So I believe this cleans a little bit better than the Power Force, simply because it has a little bit stiffer bristles, which is great. It grooms very good, agitates a lot better than the softer brush roll in the Power Force. Now let's go ahead and tip this guy back up. And now let's go ahead and turn on its back to show you the model number. It is Bissell cleaner model 3576-6, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 12 amps. Bissell in Grand Rapids, Michigan, made in Korea, which is honestly a good thing for me, because originally when these came out, and me being a Hoover junkie that I normally am, I honestly was worried that these Bissells were made in China, but thankfully I was wrong. And of course, later versions of these Cleanview style uprights, as well as the Power Forces, eventually moved production to China, so they're not made as good of quality as these older ones were. So anyway, your attachment setup right here, you have this oddball combination upholstery tool / dusting brush. Basically just rotate the brush to what side you want. Right here's the upholstery tool side, and rotate it again. You have your dusting brush side, which dusting brush, I do not believe this is very effective dusting brush. The bristles to me are a little bit too harsh for it to be good at dusting delicate surfaces. Which that unfortunately is a little bit Bissell quality. I don't recommend these dusting brushes. And on the back here you do have your crevice tool mounted inside your extension wand that is, honestly to me, feels a little bit shorter than the wand on the Power Force. But it gets the job done at least. And here's your extension wand right here. Right there. And this here's your flexible hose. A little bit cheap in the build quality, but in my opinion, much better build quality than the flexible hose that's on the Power Force. And on the back you do have a little carrying handle, which is nice. And some people may look at this machine and think that this is an extremely heavy and bulky machine, but surprisingly it's pretty lightweight for what it is. Now granted, the Power Force machines are a lot lighter weight than these Cleanviews were, but still a pretty light machine for being a full-size upright. And I think I've pretty much shown you all around the machine right now. Let's go ahead and release the power cord and show you a demo of this thing cleaning. The cord on this is surprisingly pretty long. I think it's at least about 30 feet. So not the longest cord, but it's still pretty long nonetheless. Plug this guy in. Now we'll go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys. Show you just how smooth this thing runs. In typical Bissell fashion, the power switch is on the left side of the machine. I honestly like this power switch design a little bit better than the Power Force's, because the Power Force uses that cheap foot switch on the back of the machine, which to me just feels like it's about to break. To which I really like that the rocker switch design on these Cleanviews, as well as the bagged Power Force uprights, or bagged machines in general by Bissell, that use this power switch design. But let's go ahead and turn this thing on and show you it working. runs very smooth. And well, before we end the video, let's go ahead and demonstrate the tools in action, just like I usually do. Just gonna turn this thing back on. Pretty strong suction, I will tell you that. Not the tallest extension wand in the world. Let's go ahead and show you the turbo brush. Take this guy out. So anyway, as soon as you connect it in, it starts spinning because there's a little turbine inside there that's driven off suction. Doesn't spin the fastest like some of the later models. But the thing I do like about it is that whatever service you put it on, it doesn't bog down. Put this back in. Alright, now let's go ahead and show you. It did pick up a little bit of fine dust there. But these things are pretty good performers for what they are. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Bissell Cleanview 2 Bagless Plus. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.